give you a countdown, and we are live.
Yay! Yeah, getting deltas on data transference has always been a pain in the ass. Let's be honest.
All right, need to make sure to. I need to make sure that I'm muted over there, and one last double check. Cool. All right, wanted to make sure I was coming through the correct microphone. All right. Wunderbar. It's almost like my text notepad was already in position to block out my face on the other screen.
Hooray!
Oh, goody, goodness gracious. Chris, how about we get this show on the road?
Morning, Whited 66, even though it's afternoon where we are.
Morning?
Yeah.
Still, I guess it is technically still morning on the West Coast and
Hawaii
elsewhere.
and Alaska.
Yeah, sure.
And, parts of Canada, though we don't really consider that part of the world.
Do we even consider that like a place?
Well, I mean, there's America and then there's everywhere else.
I mean, Canada doesn't even recognize most of Canada.
Alberta who?
Yeah. Albert who? Albert what?
Where's
Sasquatch. Is that where the Bigfoot is?
Is that a national forest? I thought that was just, some empty land.
Yeah, pretty much. Good times, though. Well, I say no time like the present. Or were you going to wait for a few more foals to fall in?
Blink and you'll miss me too. Oh, it says yo. I guess we blunk and missed the first one.
Oh, geez.
And up for to be a second. Who knew?
You blunked? I hate it when I blunk.
I don't care. English work.
They call me
good grammar. I am a perfectist grammological.
Oh, wow. Thank goodness you had the correct emphasis on the wrong syllable.
All right. So, welcome everyone to the next episode of The Foally of Man. My name is Chris. With me here today,
Robert.
And we're going to be looking at Chapter 6 of Pink Eyes, which is a side story to a large fiction called Fallout Equestria, which is a blending of Fallout and My Little Pony. And coming from the position of me, who's watched a lot of the show, not all of it, because I kind of fell out with the newer seasons because, it's awful. And Robert, who knows absolutely nothing about the show and refuses to admit that he knows anything.
This is the bitter pill that this show is. It's a slippery slope. I knew nothing about the show. I am still not a brony, but as is suddenly being revealed as we do more and more of these, I know a lot that bronies don't know. So, oh joy of joys.
Yeah. It was interesting. You've only seen, I think, like 2 episodes of the show.
Yeah. I do want to point out something, though. You have great anime glasses action going on right now. You need to flash us one of these. Yeah.
No, just like this. Shinji, get in the goddamn neck.
I was just gonna say that.
I need white gloves. I need white gloves for this to work.
Shinji, get in the goddamn neck. Oh man. Well, so we are covering, what chapter are we covering this week? Chapter 6. Chapter 6. It all just runs together, Birds of a feather herd together, as they say. So, Chris, where do we pick up this week from where we last left off? Last week, I remember us being on a cliffhanger.
Manticore breaking into the room.
And our brand new
we start off on a neutral point with a radio broadcast from our radio DJ Lonesome Pony
LP.
Very interesting that. And the radio broadcaster, first off, I noticed that he uses a lot of sound effects, like he's got a soundboard.
Yeah, like a good radio show.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, this is your Drive Time Radio guy. You got the Griffins out on the right. Henrietta, will you give us the updated traffic report out there on Highway 55?
58.
You know what?
Or 52. No, big 52.
You know what? It's like you took no improv classes. When somebody says something, you don't say, actually, no.
And then we're going to get the morning radio from Butt Hair and the Swede.
Yes.
Butt Hair and the Swede.
Wait, am I Butt Hair or the Swede?
I have no idea at this point. I don't think anyone does. Fucking daytime radio. Oh, God. It's amazing how they say TV will die, but daytime radio still isn't dead.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's shocking that any terrestrial radio is still around.
So, because it's a cheap overhead, let's be honest. So we kind of summarize, or he summarizes the past few chapters' events, which is interesting because we did a somewhat summarization in the last chapter at the beginning as well.
Yeah.
However, this one covers a little more than just the prior chapter. It covers a little bit more, and it's important that it does come up because it's mentioned later that people have heard about her, the little ghost, on the radio.
Yep. It's very much like in Fallout, very much like in Pokemon, and very much in this story. The radio is used as a way of kind of letting you know that people know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a common trope.
This just in, a trainer on Route 2 is beating the shit out of a Pidgey, hoping to turn it into a level 5. Crack that whip, boy. Crack that whip.
Good old training rats to fight other rats to steal 2 of your yin. It's all I had. Now I'm going to black out because I am so malnourished.
He's going to carry her on a fainting couch or something. Anyway, so Puppy, he also mentions something about the Big 52. I wonder if she's going to open up the Big 52 tunnel under the mountain. So, yeah, that's interesting.
And then guess where we are.
Guess where? That's exactly where she's going, but that was hinted in the last chapter. So.
Yeah. Yep.
Puppy Smiles acts childish in the face of almost certain doom because she just doesn't understand the concept of death.
Yeah, she really, shockingly, considering that she's constantly surrounded by it.
Which of the dozen of African warlords was it who said that he loved child soldiers because they didn't fear death and they didn't know death, so they went headlong into battle without fear?
I do not know.
There are I don't know who that's attributed to. It could also be a Mideastern warlord. Who knows?
Sure, it wasn't the Children's Crusade. You almost positive? No, it wasn't the Children's Crusade. That's a very.
Oh, it was General Butt Naked. I don't think it was General Butt Naked, but it could have been.
Do not, if you don't want to cry, man, avoid the story of the Children's Crusade.
Is it as bad as General Butt Naked?
I don't know the story of General Butt Naked. Care to elaborate?
He stripped down butt naked and ran into battle filled with enough cocaine to go out of his mind, and then eviscerated and desiccated his opponents by eating them. And yeah, it was disgusting. He later turned to Christianity, trying to tell people to walk away from that kind of life. And people are like, "How the fuck are you alive? Or why the fuck aren't you in prison?" It doesn't matter.
He literally still had a guy's earlobe hanging off of his lip when he was saying that too.
Oh, Mike Tyson?
Yeah, right. Golly Moses. Yeah, but so the thing is, like, it's kind of one of the flip sides is she mentally frozen in time as well? Because she doesn't seem to learn anything.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know what the ghoulification process does to the brain. It's not really something that's ever brought up in any of the Fallouts. Aside from the fact that it makes you go mad because of like some sort of dementia. Which makes sense, but it doesn't talk about like brain development. Yeah. Now there was the child in Fallout 4 that you found locked inside the refrigerator, the child ghoul.
Yeah.
That you let out.
Billy,
I think it was. There was that, which was interesting, and it may have shed some light on how that worked, but he was also like, there's no reason he shouldn't have been feral. He should have been feral. It doesn't make any sense that he wouldn't be.
Well, remember the fridge was lead lined.
The feral versus non-feral doesn't come from a more or less radiation. It just comes from a mental breakdown, and the fact that you have no stimuli for 200 years.
Well, he was he was a teenage boy.
A young lad.
What do teenage boys do when they have nothing else to pass the time?
Yeah, until the rot sets in. It's like jock itch, except everything falls off.
Huh, I didn't realize the defroster was still working in this fridge after all this long. It's nothing. It's just nothing here. Nothing. Just whatever. You know. Don't look in there.
Yeah.
He's just
Oh,
scratched
God, the
some really
smell.
crude ghoul boobs in there.
The smell.
I mean, the
Oh.
smell with having him in there, period. I mean, I guess the nice thing about being a ghoul is that you're not urinating or defecating, but you are,
It
as
doesn't
you
matter.
said, desiccating.
And you're inside of an enclosed area. Opening that up, there's no reason
That's one of the things.
the person at a time shouldn't have just started vomiting and never stopped.
Yeah,
and
right.
Had night terrors from that smell.
That's just the thing. Too. Lost my train of thought because you got me thinking about vomiting. No, here it is. A ghoul would stink to be around. Literally, would just be disgusting.
Putrescence.
They're rotting. They would smell like rotting flesh. The very idea that you can have a relationship with a ghoul in Fallout 4 made no sense to me at all.
We're going to get off this topic really quick before I actually start vomiting because I just thought of, it coming off. Okay. So we're going to move back
Planet Terror.
back to the story. So Henrietta is all the while kind of reiterating to herself, I can't wait for my dad to come save me. I can't wait for my dad to come save me. And Puppy Smiles like, oh, your dad? The dead one? I mean, he could be better now, but he was dead.
Yeah. My father would never die. He's the best of us.
And then Puppy hands Henrietta her father's pistol.
His pistol. Now, his pistol, was his the one with the red line on the side or the yellow one?
The black. So black and red.
Black and red.
Mm-hmm.
And hers was with the yellow stripe.
They were the exact same pistol with different colorations.
Yeah. I also, we haven't touched on it yet, but so Henrietta's trying to put together a plan to kill the Manicore. And it's like, all right, step one. I'm going to go out and I'm going to distract them. And I need you to get into one of those big tanks and steal one of it looks like a paint can. It's red on top, steal one of those things, the high explosive round. And of course, Puppy Smiles has set up like a blanket, like a tea party with all of her toys. And the furniture for these toys are high explosive rounds, along with her Pinkie Pie doll.
Yes.
But of course, Henrietta's like, oh, this kid doesn't know anything and she's not listening to me. And then she suddenly realizes when she snatches the doll away that the doll is literally sitting on a pile of all the things that they're looking for.
Why are you using a high explosive round as a table?
Yeah, I mean, she really is like a demon.
Yeah, this is what happens when you tank luck. Like, it's never a bad idea to tank a skill, depending on what the skill is. But tanking luck in real life, in a world that's as open and varied as real life, holy shit! You're just going to walk around with things dropping dead around you.
Yeah, basically,
you can't be stopped.
That's how every situation is. Well, anyways, Henrietta tries to lure the Manicore in. Does lure the Manicore in. Puppy Smiles is out of position. And she's like, now. And Puppy, of course, is like, now what? Clearly forgetting whatever she was supposed to do beforehand. But what she's supposed to do is toss one of the high explosive rounds at the Manicore for Henrietta to pow, 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 shoot and make it explode. This does not work.
Because you can't just cause things to explode with 45 caliber rounds. This is not Hollywood. This is not video games. This is not
how it works.
Which is interesting.
Well, it shows some of her. I mean, shows a little bit of her naivety or desperation.
Yeah, I mean, it could be both. Henrietta obviously relied very heavily on her father to survive, and therefore probably is not. I mean, obviously nowhere near as naive as Puppy Smiles, but still naive to how the wasteland works.
Absolutely. But then Henrietta, trying to regroup, goes in trying to attack the Manicore, thinking that he has reached the extent of his reach.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very wrong about that.
She realizes, oh, wait, part cat.
Yeah.
He's actually coiled up, ready to strike.
Yeah. I'm part cat, too. I should have known that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, her other part is bird, and that cat's part is bat and scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah. Well, and what do kitty cats love to do but bat birds out of the sky?
They're really good at it.
So he's pinned her down and he's, cutting her up and tearing her up. And Puppy Smiles, of course, freaks out, eyes glow pink. It's a common theme. It's very anime if you think about it. Unleash the power within.
Well, part of it is that she kind of PTSDs to the farm and remembers the robot at the farm. Because it got me for a second when I read it. I forgot this even the first time, where it's like, and she saw a pink body with glowing blue eyes, robot body, and I'm like, wait, she's not a robot in the story, and I know that Mime-Zinga didn't like do this subversive, and she's actually a robot trope. So, oh yeah, that's right. She's thinking back to the farm, and she's having flashbacks to that, and kind of getting enraged.
Yeah, sure.
And loses it, and takes the Rock of Destiny.
The Rock of Destiny, yep.
And starts trying to beat the Manticore with the Rock of Destiny, which is not going to work.
No, it doesn't work. But he stops attacking Henrietta and bites into her. And,
takes a big old bite and immediately regrets how spicy she is.
Yeah. But as Henrietta's blacking out, she is, I think she even takes a healing potion of some kind.
Yeah, she downs the healing potion.
As she's blacking out, she hears the Manticore, in its throes, and in her head she's like, oh, he's tearing up poor little Puppy Smiles. I can't look back at that, when of course what he's actually screaming about is he is physically fusing to the wall and floor around him.
Yeah, it's starting to decay him from the inside. He can't get it out of his mouth because part of it has fused to him, and so he can't escape, and so he's just like screaming out in absolute agony, similar to the Raider that pierced her the first time when she first happened upon them in like chapter 1, and his face just immediately melts.
Yeah, and I remember that specifically. It describes the brain oozing out of the eye holes.
It's like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. That's demoralizing. You want to talk about something that's demoralizing? That's fucking demoralizing.
They keep coming across this as we're about to hit in the last little vignette of the chapter. But Pinkie Pie comes to. And she realizes, sorry, why do I keep saying Pinkie Pie? Well, because they're so dumb and similar. Puppy Smiles, and they both start with P. Puppy Smiles comes to. And it also doesn't help that her name is, like, the book is Pink Eyes in reference to her.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Puppy Smiles comes to, and Henrietta is still unconscious, but she walks over and checks her out and is like, oh, so she'll be fine.
And leaves Silky Tail, which is her Pinkie Pie doll.
Her Pinkie Pie doll, that's right.
To protect Henrietta.
And then on her way, and I don't remember there being a note about her getting... No, she does still have her scooter, so she gets on her scooter and scootaloos away. Trying to think if there's anything else in that little bit.
Yes, Henrietta, there's a break, and Henrietta is shown back at where her father was, burying him in the marsh.
Yeah.
And describing how difficult it was, and her just completely...
Yeah. And trying to dig in a marsh, by the way. Every time you dig out dirt, it just fills with water and mud.
And she's sobbing openly.
Yeah.
But I remember a line from it, "Tell Mom I'll be fine, okay?"
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. It humanizes Henrietta, especially since earlier in the chapter, she was very much aggressive, angry, mean, desperate. Obviously, not uncharacteristically or out of the nature of the circumstance to be so, but it helps ground Henrietta and give her more of a character, and leaves on a happier note than just, I left Puppy to die, after saying that griffins are racially superior to ponies. And
yeah. I wanted to say one quick thing for the live streamers with us. Go ahead and have your comments and questions ready, because as we finish the summary of the chapter, we, of course, have your favorite part of the episode, and then we'll get into the questions and comments. Go ahead and have them ready by the end, and we'll cover those after we finish the summary.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the last little bit, we actually do another break and come back to Puppy Smiles greeting some not-so-friendly slavers.
What? Not friendly slavers? Balderdash. I've only ever known the friendliest of slavers.
Yeah, something about that.
And one of the slaves is pregnant.
Mm-hmm. And one of the slavers are arguing whether or not how they deal with Puppy Smiles, because they're going to take her and make her a slave. And she's like, okay.
They keep trying to menace her too. One of them is trying to menace her, and the leader's like, if you hurt or kill another slave, I'm coming for your skin.
Yeah.
And they're trying to like bust open her suit. They're like trying to take her out of the suit.
Yeah, because they can't get the slave collar around the suit. Won't fit.
And every time they hit the suit, it immediately just is like, oh, emergency, and heals back up.
I mean, it's not an impossibly destroyed suit. It's just they're not doing a very effective job of just whacking it with a rock.
Well, one of them finally like hits Puppy hard and throws her when they hit her, and of course she just stands up unfazed. She doesn't have any feelings.
It's like shit.
And they kind of knew. They know that she's the ghost that they've heard of her. They think.
Yeah, and they're like, we're not gonna. One of them's like, we're not gonna touch it, leave it alone, and the other one's like, no, we're gonna take it. It's fine. I don't believe it. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
And so he gets so frustrated of her that he shoots her, and of course, no reaction. Shoots her some more, no reaction.
It's like, fuck. And so after shooting him, they get into a scuffle. The slavers actually start arguing with each other.
The leader's like, don't you kill another one of my slaves, and goes to attack him. And before he can even attack him, the aggressor, shoots the leader in the leg, and his knee just blows out.
And then they get into a kerfuffle, and the slaves in the meanwhile take advantage of the circumstance and try to stop the slavers. And they almost do it before one of the slavers pulls out the detonator to the bomb collar. And right as he's about to pull the trigger, Puppy
takes it away.
Takes it away using the inventory magic and says, no, I'm taking this away. You've been mean.
You've been mean. Yeah, and his whole thing is like, well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to at least take all you rotten slaves with me. And that's when she takes it away. And he's like, I thought you might be scary, but you were 10 times more horrifying than I could have ever imagined.
How did you do this? How did you do this?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, she rolled high for luck.
Oof, stack it.
Yeah. She rolled 18.
Fuck. Yeah, 18 in a 10-point system. That actually sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she saves both of the slaves that actually are a couple. And they all go to where she's headed to, as the tunnel.
And they'd like to pay her, like to give her something, but they literally are slaves. They have nothing, or what they have is just enough for them to get to where they need to go.
Yeah, so because they have to take the detour and not go through the tunnel, which is a massive way around the tunnel.
Now there was some comment about the couple, because I remember it was like, I think she says, I hope she's a girl pony because girl ponies are nice.
Yeah, Philly. Boy ponies. Yeah, because Puppy Smile says, I hope she's a filly because colts are gross and they have cooties.
And then she looks at the man and is like, yeah, they do.
That was how you knew it. That's actually was the tell that they were a couple. As he said, yeah, they do, and kind of snuggled up with the pregnant one. It's like, see, now you get it. Which is very, very interesting and kind of more subtle way of describing the relationship between the two.
Sure.
So yeah, that was.
Well, aren't they? Well, I remember there's a note where the pregnant mare is explaining to Puppy Smiles or is it Puppy Smiles that's explaining to them?
It's Puppy Smiles explaining to them because
it's very childish. Yeah.
Yeah, because when they want a foal, they send a letter to Princess Celestia, and she delivers them a baby. And the mayor's like, "Yeah, that sounds about right. Sure,
yeah,
sure." Kid.
But again, like they've only grown up in the wasteland, so they've never
heard of an alternate. Yeah.
They've never been exposed to such innocence. They've grown up in this shithole. I mean, it just is. There's just like nothing nice about the wasteland, and here's this creature that's pure niceness.
Yeah.
Just childish niceness. And that's why they think it's a ruse, because of how dangerous the wasteland is.
Yeah. Obviously, it's so out of place that it is more terrifying than the hellscape around them, because the hellscape is familiar and, choose the devil you know.
Yep. Anyways, we end the chapter with Puppy Smiles trotting into the supposedly blocked tunnel.
There's apparently a place in there called Tunnel Town, and I guess beyond that, some kind of prevention of passing through. But yeah, overall, I'm going to say this is my favorite chapter so far.
Okay.
I think this is the best chapter so far, in fact. It has the most elements that draw you in. It has some interesting aspects of the world, and the breakups, the actual just breaks between the little vignettes at the end, definitely do a better job of holding a certain amount of interest and pacing for size of the chapter than otherwise.
One of the things I've noticed is that they can kill any tension instantly with Puppy Smiles, just instantly. So, for instance, we leave the last chapter and it's a cliffhanger, and then for the next, when we start the next chapter, there's no suspense. It's almost like back to stasis for a scene or two there.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of urgency that suddenly comes from Henrietta, but originally it's just like you come in and you're like, wait, was this taken care of? Like, they seem to be talking really casually.
It's interesting. I think there was a break. I think the break there is the fact that the Manticore tried to get in but didn't, and the way it was described at the end of last episode was that the Manticore was already breaking into the room. So that is an interesting point. Now, I will spoil an aspect of the story in not the ending or anything grand, but you're going to find out this is not a hero's journey. This is an epic. This is a tale of events, a sequence of happenstance around some greater thing. It shows the focus on Puppy Smiles, which is really the catalyst for many of these events. But she doesn't grow. I mean, it's obvious. She kind of stays the same, but it is the events that surround her.
She's a flat character.
A static position. I would say a static point. She is a static point in space with the world shifting around her. And the fact that she is completely static makes the world shift that much harder because it has to change itself to her in an interestingly meta way.
Really, Puppy Smiles in a lot of ways is representative of like an autistic child. I mean, I know she's not autistic, but the fact that the world has to adapt to her because of her inability to adapt to her world.
Also known as the Predator movie. Oh God, that was awful. The predators are coming to Earth to stop global warming, and autism is the next step of human evolution.
Great.
The best action movie.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh God, it's fucking awful. I haven't even seen it. I don't want to see it. Why would I see that? It's just ass.
So, Chris, take a stroll with me down a very familiar street. It's a street that we've been down many times.
The Boulevard of Broken Glass.
The Boulevard of Broken Glass. And the destination we shall be reaching is the Pony Pun of the Week.
Oh.
I know you're dying to hear what it is, but the Pony Pun of the Week. And that's W-E-E-K, not W-E-A-K. That's a very different thing. But the Pony Pun of the Week for this week is herbivore. Herbivore. Specifically, a mare who does not partake in any of the meats and cheeses of Wasteland. Not to be confused with a hisbivore, which is, a lot less common.
Yeah.
So that's the Pony Pun of the Week.
That's the Pony Pun of the Week.
I kind of need a little bit of reaction. Otherwise, it's just the stunned silence at the brilliance is appreciated.
I'm still basking in the almost irradiated glow of the wondrous gift you've bestowed upon me.
Watch out too much of that, and you'll just blow up in the sky a few chapters later.
Many more, and I'll just start turning into a feral ghoul.
So now is the part of the episode where we've summarized it. We've kind of talked about some of our thoughts of it. You've already read the story. So I guess the question, where do we go from here? Is it just going to continue to be a series of vignettes of here's the thing that nobody can get past, and Puppy Smiles takes care of it? Is it just is a lot more of that? Is it still going to be intensely episodic? These are some of the questions that I wonder as we're working our way through the story.
There is some episodicness that does continue, that does persist. Each chapter is in and of itself a slightly little mini series of events. The story does have a final, does have an ending. There's mixed feelings on the ending. there you'll see when we get to it why. But I enjoyed it. I'm going to say that I actually enjoyed the finality and conclusion of how the story actually ends all the way to the end is actually I think it's the best way to. I think it actually is the only way you could satisfyingly answer the story. But there is more to come, and the world not only does Puppy Smiles affect more and more of the world as she continues, more of the world will start unraveling itself to us as readers, and so you'll start experiencing more and you'll start seeing more because we're still getting almost a very small peer into what is the Big 52.
I got you. How many chapters are in this book? I know I've asked that before.
Don't remember. I wish I could say. If there was only some way I could look it up, there's none. There's no way to know. Actually, it's completely gone to us.
It's just a mystery.
Yeah, it's an absolute mystery. 21.
21 chapters. Okay, so it's less than half the length of Fallout Equestria.
Yeah. Oh, it's 134 as opposed to 600,000. So yeah. Words. Yeah, we are much shorter than. That was the reason. Is this was the shortest of all the stories.
Our favorite, Chris, it's your boy DJ Az says that they love the ending.
Yes.
The ending.
Yeah, actually, I really enjoyed the ending. And like
Why did 666 also says that stunned silence is one way to describe it?
The pony pun.
You know what? I'm catching a lot of flack. I'm catching a lot of flack. I'm catching a lot of flank. Yeah, I am catching a lot of flank. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm catching a lot of flank right now from you particularly about the pony pun. Oh, it's like cancer. Puns are like cancer, whatever. But you know what? When I haven't done it, I get people that ask, hey, where's the pony pun of the week?
I don't think anybody wants to go without it. They just want to have an opportunity to voice their concern.
They're really worried about me. Well, I mean, I am a dad, and it's a dad joke. Puns are dad jokes. Oh, yes. Goodness gracious. So let's see here. We got 6 down, 15 to go, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
We are a good way through it.
I do want to say, for those of you that like this story, if for any reason you watch our show and have read Pink Eyes or are reading Pink Eyes, but you haven't read Fallout Equestria, go check out Fallout Equestria by K-Cat.
That would be an extraordinary rarity.
I'm just saying, well, speaking of rarity, but furthermore, definitely check out this book by Mimzinga, Pink Eyes. If it's piqued your interest watching us summarize it, go read it. It's on FinFiction. We should have the link in the comment section below for you to be able to check it out. If you like our show, you like what we make on our channel, and you want to support us, consider finding us on Patreon. While
it exists.
Yep, while it exists. Yeah, that's the other question. Just apparently,
what's his name? Jack something. I don't know. Whatever his name is, the guy who owns it said apparently it's unmanageable at its current, or unsustainable at its current level. So it's like, oh great, are we going to have a thing where Patreon just disappears one day?
It may very well. I will say, Chris and I are still working on coming together with the audiobook for Pink Eyes. So if you want to be able to listen to somebody read Pink Eyes, that will be available on our channel as well. We already talked about Patreon. Again, every little bit of that there helps us just pay for server space. If you are watching us on YouTube, check us out as the podcast on the iTunes podcast store, the Google Play podcast store. Obviously, it's free, so go check it out there. If you also just like to listen to us passively or catch up on old episodes, it's a great place to go. We're always going to pay for that. It's always going to be there. It's not a problem. Happy to keep it rolling because we do have a surprising amount of people who just listen to the audio version. So we do try and keep that in mind. We don't really use social media. We have it, but I wouldn't say that, Chris.
I think I logged into Facebook 7 years ago was the last time.
Yeah, I'm
actually completely honest. I think it was 7 years ago. The last time I actually logged onto it. I despise.
But we don't despise this channel or YouTube. So
or the people who are here. I love people.
Right.
People are great. The medium.
We love being able to share and engage with y'all, and it really means the world to have everybody together it's just a lot of fun, and we're going to keep doing it as long as it's fun. You have anything else? Any nuggets of wisdom that you'd like to share? You know, this is a time when we dim the lights. Mr. Rogers puts on his bathrobe, you know, gets into something a little more comfortable, puts the puppets away, and talks to us about pedophilia. So what kind of message would you like to share here now, Chris?
Oh, what? I mean, you've kind of set me up for saying something about pedophilia here. What's wrong with you?
No, not specifically about pedophilia.
Don't touch children. Listen to us. It's wrong. Stop creepily staring at children while they're playing in parks when you have no children there.
It's like one of those old NBC PSAs, the more you know. It's like, you know, you're driving by a school and you just can't help yourself. You just got to stop and watch some kids play. Don't do that. Don't watch kids play. The more you know.
God. And knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle. Yo, Joe.
Know when they're old enough to consent.
Oh God, no! It just gets so, you know, every time we try and do something good, it just turns into this black, icky, nasty shit. You know, the kind of scum that you like scrape out from a wheel well. That's what this show becomes at the end of the episode.
It's the Jungian mask in the shadow. We try to go for the mask, but we always bring the shadow out.
Bringing the shadow to you for years now. So with that, thanks for joining us today. For Chris, I'm Robert, and this has been the Foally of Man. It's been a treat, and we will see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.